On a rainy day in one of the Chinese cities, a mother was walking while carrying her baby, trying to escape from people who were chasing her. She stopped in a small corner and began to sing to her child to calm him down so he wouldn't feel afraid or anxious. Suddenly, a woman who lived nearby heard her and approached the mother. She suggested that she come inside her home to protect the child from the rain and prevent him from getting sick. The mother looked at the woman, then handed her the baby and said, "Take him inside for a moment. I'll just go buy him some medicine and come right back." Before leaving, she placed a coconut-shaped pendant around the child's neck, and then she completely disappeared. The woman tried to look for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Years passed, and the boy grew up. He was named Shu. 18 years later, Shu was walking with his adoptive sister through a local festival in their town. As they walked, Shu overheard talk about people who had recently developed supernatural powers, and their numbers were increasing rapidly. He soon saw a large crowd watching a man performing with fire. It looked like he had superpowers. Shu and his sister got closer to get a better view of the performance. The moment Shu saw the performer's powers, he suddenly felt as if time had stopped. No one was moving anymore. Then, in a strange twist, Shu was transported to a place in outer space where he saw a sword floating in the air. At the same time, the pendant around his neck began to glow for a few seconds. Then, everything vanished. Shu returned to the present moment and stared in amazement at the magician in front of him. He thought to himself, "There's no way this is a normal person. This must be a supernatural power." After the fire show ended, Shu's sister said, "That was incredible. Let's go backstage. Maybe we can find out how he did it and try to learn from him." Shu agreed, and they both snuck behind the scenes. When they arrived, they witnessed a group of people drugging the performer. He collapsed unconscious in front of them. Shu's sister panicked and screamed, which alerted the group, but Shu quickly stepped forward and said, "Oh, where's the bathroom? We were just looking for it and got lost." The group replied, "Are you kidding? This isn't a bathroom. And by the way, we're the police, and we're interrogating this man." Shu responded calmly, "Okay, understood," and walked away with his sister. But as he walked, he kept thinking about what had just happened. He said to himself, "That man definitely used his power during the show, and these people must be trying to capture him." Later, Shu asked his sister, "What do you think of these people with newly awakened powers?" She answered, "I know they're strong, but once my power awakens, I'll be stronger than all of them, and I'll crush them. I know, Shu, that even if your power appears, it'll be very weak, just like you. But don't worry, I'll protect you. After all, you're my personal chef." Shu was stunned by her words, then simply replied with a smile, "All right." After that, they returned home, and there Shu met the woman who had raised him when he was a child. He greeted her warmly, then went inside. Lu was sitting and watching news about people who had recently developed supernatural powers. Shu went to prepare something for her, but he realized they were out of pasta, so he decided to go out and buy some. As he walked down the street, memories from his childhood flooded his mind. How no one ever stood by him except Lu. Even when he was sick, she was the only one who visited him. She had even escaped from the orphanage just to live with him in his house. Lost in thought, Shu didn't notice a speeding car coming his way. It struck him, sending him crashing to the ground. Blood spilled from his head and body. It looked like the end. But suddenly something strange happened. The pendant around his neck began to glow and activate, healing all of his wounds. Moments later, Shu rose into the air, then fell back to the ground. He opened his eyes and said to himself, "How did I get hit by a car and feel no pain at all? Could it be that my supernatural power has awakened? It must be. But still, I can't just let the driver go unpunished." The man who hit him was standing nearby, staring at Shu, thinking he had surely died. But suddenly Shu stood up and acted like a ghost coming for revenge. The man was terrified. Numbers appeared above his head, and he ran off, jumped in his car, and fled the scene. Shu continued on his way to buy pasta. The shopkeeper was shocked to see blood all over Shu's head. Again, strange numbers appeared above the man's head. Shu was even more confused, quickly grabbed the pasta, and rushed home. While running, he bumped into two other people, and just like before, numbers appeared above their heads too. When Shu got home, Lu asked him, "What happened to you?" He replied, "Don't worry about it," then rushed to the bathroom. He checked his body, but there were no wounds or bruises at all. He went to his room and began imagining his power. Suddenly, a strange screen appeared in front of him. It displayed all the points he had collected that day. He said to himself, "Who are these people? I don't know any of them." Then he remembered what had happened, the numbers that appeared over people's heads. That's when he realized, whenever he annoyed or hurt someone, he gained magic points. The more he bothered them, the more points he earned. And with that, his power grew stronger too. Shu was thrilled. He thought, "I'll keep annoying everyone I meet. I'll become the next king of demons. The more I irritate people, the stronger I'll become." He continued exploring the strange screen in front of him. Suddenly, something called the Wheel of Fortune appeared. It could be spun once for every 100 points. He checked his balance. It was 900 points. "Nice," he said. "That means I have 9 spins." Shu started spinning the Wheel of Fortune once, then twice, but got nothing each time. Just the message, "Thank you for participating." On the third spin, however, a magical apple appeared. As soon as Shu ate it, he felt a strange energy surge through his body, as if it were healing all his wounds. Excited, Shu kept spinning the wheel even more until he received a scroll. It had the lyrics of the song his mother used to sing to him when he was a child. He tried singing it while closing his eyes, and suddenly, he felt something unusual happening inside his body. It was like he had been transported into his own power, into another world. There, he found himself competing with his sister, and he noticed that negative points were being counted in front of him. That made him happy, and he decided to annoy her even more to gain more points. After that experience ended, Shu went out to watch a movie, but while watching, he sensed something strange happening outside. He climbed up to the roof of his house to check, only to see the same people he had seen before. Shu tried to hide before they noticed him, but they managed to catch him in the end. One of the men said, "Shu, what are you doing here? Are you part of the gang or what?" Shu replied, "I live here. What are you doing here?" The man was shocked and responded, "There's a dangerous criminal around here. We're chasing him. Stay inside so you don't get into trouble." Shu nodded and went back inside, but he thought to himself, "How did I sense their powers when they didn't sense mine? That must mean my power is stronger than theirs." Suddenly Lu asked him, "What were you doing outside?" Just as he was about to answer, they noticed someone lying on the ground in front of the house. Shu rushed out to check and told Lu to stay inside, but she kept bothering him and giving him negative points until she finally decided to follow him to see who the man was. Shu approached the man and realized it was the same fire performer he had seen before. He said to Lu, "We should call an ambulance and take him inside." But Lu replied, "Unfortunately, the call is too expensive and we can't afford it. Let's just leave him here." Hearing that, the man got upset, and negative points started coming out of him. Shu realized the man was faking being unconscious, so he began irritating him even more to gain extra points. Shu grinned and thought, "At this rate, I'll become the Demon King faster than I ever imagined." Eventually, the man had enough of Shu's bullying and sat up saying, "I want something to drink. Bring me water." Shu responded sarcastically, "Here's some ice. That's all we've got." The man got angry while Shu was overjoyed. The man tried to ask Lu for help, but Shu knocked him to the ground again and kept provoking him to collect more points. When the man finally lost control, he tried to burn Shu using his fire abilities, but Shu's power activated and extinguished the flames, leaving the man humiliated in front of them. After that, the man tried to burn him again, but it was no use. Shu was thoroughly enjoying watching him angry, especially because of the points he gained from his rage. Eventually, the man lost his patience with them and said, "I'm leaving. I don't want anything from you." Shu replied, "Careful not to fall off another rooftop." This made the man even angrier, and Shu earned more points from him. Shu entered the house with his sister, who asked, "How come you didn't get burned? Could it be that your powers have awakened?" He answered, "I don't know." She replied, "Even if they have, your weak body won't be able to handle them." Shu said, "What are you talking about? By the way, my powers have already awakened." As he was about to leave the room, he told her, "Do my homework before you sleep," earning a few more points from her. Then he went into his room and began exploring his powers. He found an item that could be bought with points, so he purchased it. A strange substance appeared, and he ate it. As soon as he did, he entered his energy realm again. But this time, he saw a distant planet before him and realized he had gained a new power. He returned from his energy field and found that he could now lift his bed with one hand. He left his room and saw Lu watching television, so he sat beside her and opened his class group chat. He started teasing his classmates and earned a lot of points from them. Then Lu asked, "Why haven't they contacted you?" "The group started a while ago," he answered. "Because they know I don't have money. That's why they don't bother talking to me." She told him, "I think you're just trying to take the easy way out." Shu replied, "On the contrary. Do you have any idea how much we pay for rent, water, and gas? The money we make barely allows us to survive." Feeling for him, the girl brought him some eggs to sell the next day. It became clear they relied on that as a primary income source. Every morning before school, Shu goes out to sell eggs and earn some money to support them. The next day, he went out and began selling the eggs. An old man beside him asked about Lu, and Shu told him she's sick today, so she didn't come. Two of Shu's classmates passed by but pretended not to see him and kept walking. The old man grew angry and asked Shu, "Why didn't they speak to you?" Shu replied, "Maybe they're embarrassed because I sell eggs, nothing more." The old man got upset and said, "What's wrong with earning money? These kids weren't raised properly." Suddenly, the class president approached Shu to harass him and mock him. He said, "Is selling eggs what keeps you alive?" At that moment, Shu understood his intent and calmly replied, "Little by little, I managed to gather my expenses." The boy got annoyed, and Shu earned some points from him. The class president continued saying, "You better sell all of them quickly, or your reputation will suffer if the school finds out." Shu replied, "If you're really concerned about me, why don't you buy all the eggs? Or, can't you afford it?" The boy answered confidently, "Of course I can." After that, Shu quickly placed all the eggs in one bag and said, "The class president bought all the eggs." There was nothing left in front of him. Everyone in the line got upset, and Shu earned points from all of them. He sold the eggs to the class president in just seconds. Later, Shu returned to the classroom and found a new website had been created to track people who had developed superpowers. That gave Shu an idea to earn more points. He stood up and told everyone, "A new student has awakened a superpower." The entire class got excited and asked, "Who is it?" Shu replied, "The person who sent the message was anonymous, so I don't know who it is." Everyone was shocked and angry, but Shu managed to gain points from all of them. Suddenly, while they were still talking, a student burst into the room and shouted, "Something terrible has happened." Everyone asked, "What is it?" He said, "A student from the upper class has awakened a superpower and started attacking others. He's holding the principal and looks like he's about to throw him off the roof." Hearing that, Shu thought, "This is a great chance to earn more points." He rushed to to the scene. On the way, he passed by a girl and sensed she also had a hidden superpower, but she wasn't showing it. Sho reached the rooftop and saw the student holding the principal, seemingly about to throw him off. Everyone around was frozen, not knowing what to do. Then Sho had an idea. He walked up to the student and began giving him a long lecture about the consequences of killing the principal. Everyone was getting bored from how long Sho was talking, but he was gaining a huge number of points in the process. While the student was distracted by Sho's speech, the police managed to capture him, and things went back to normal. Sho returned to his classroom, where he found people waiting. They were there to run tests on the students to find out who had superpowers. Sho tried to escape, but he couldn't. He returned home feeling nervous that something might go wrong. Then, a man approached him, trying to introduce himself, but Sho ignored him, walked past, and earned points from the encounter. When he got home, he found Lu opening the door. She looked extremely sick. Sho helped her to the bed and said, "Rest. I'll go get you some medicine." She replied, "All right." Sho left the room, closed the door, and thought to himself, "I wonder if my fruit can heal Lu or not." He activated his ability and spun the wheel of luck until he got a few small fruits. He went back to Lu and gave her one. After eating it, she quickly got better, and her fever disappeared in seconds. Afterward, Sho teased her a bit to earn more points. The next day, Sho went to school, and the test results had come out. They started calling out the names of students who had superpowers. The first person called was Lee, the same girl Sho had passed by on the stairs. Then they called the class president, and the rest of the list followed. Finally, the last name was read. The teacher read it in disbelief, suspecting the result was fake. That student was Sho, the one who had already earned a crazy amount of points from the entire class after everything that had happened. The next day, a new student arrived at the school and sat next to Sho after the girl who used to sit there left, fed up with his constant teasing. The new student's name was Jia. As soon as he sat down, Sho, as usual, started messing with him to earn some points. He asked, "Has anyone ever confessed their love to you before?" Jia replied, "Yes." Sho added, "I don't mean boys. Has a girl ever confessed to you?" Jia was shocked by the question, and Sho earned some points from him. That evening, the students who had superpowers gathered at the school to train and practice using their abilities. Sho went to the classroom and discovered that the trainer was the same man he had met several times before. The trainer began by asking the students, "Does anyone know the sodium-potassium mixture?" The class president raised his hand, but the teacher ignored him and chose Sho to answer instead. He said, "Go ahead, answer." Sho responded, "The sodium-potassium mixture. That must be the path to heaven, right?" The teacher became angry and said, "I was wrong to ask you in the first place." Then the teacher explained that this substance represents efficiency, and that anyone whose blood touches the liquid will cause it to change color based on the strength of their superpower. The darker the color, the greater the power. He added, "I'll distribute test tubes to all of you to measure and classify your current level. But know this is only your current strength. Your level will increase with training and effort." After distributing the tubes, the test results came in. Sho received the lowest result because he had eaten a fruit that drastically weakened his powers. He did it on purpose to keep his true strength hidden. At that point, the class president tried to mock Sho because of his low score, but Sho annoyed him even more with his usual witty remarks, frustrating both him and the others. Later, Sho returned home and activated his ability. A message popped up about a new item added to the Wheel of Luck. He began spinning the wheel and received a new item called tofu. It smelled awful but tasted amazing, if you could get past the smell. When Lu smelled it, she said, "Where did you get that disgusting thing from? Get it away from me." Sho replied, "Would you believe me if I said I won it by chance?" She said, "Definitely not." Sho kept spinning the wheel until he had 50 pieces of tofu. Lu said to him, "Don't you have any juice or anything else?" "All you have is tofu." Sho replied, "That's all we've got." He kept spinning until suddenly a document appeared. He was about to open it, but suddenly, a powerful energy surged into Lu, and time itself froze. A black beam pierced the sky, then their house, and entered Lu's body. In shock, the girl said, "Sho, what's happening? I don't understand anything." He replied, "Close your eyes and focus on your power. Maybe you'll understand." She closed her eyes, and suddenly her star map appeared, meaning her superpower had finally awakened. She was overwhelmed with joy at discovering her new ability. After that, Sho went into his room, thinking of a way to get rid of the tofu he had and make some profit from it. He kept thinking until an idea came to him. He decided to sell it to earn some money, and whoever smelled it and didn't like it would get annoyed, giving Sho negative points to collect. The next day, Sho got ready to sell his tofu. As he left the house, he saw an old man holding a sword, training with it skillfully. He clearly had experience. The old man approached Sho and said, "Do you want to learn this move? Watch this one." But Sho replied, "No," and walked away, leaving the old man shocked. Sho earned some points from him too. Then Sho displayed his tofu for sale. At first, no one wanted to buy it, but once one person tried it and liked it, the crowd gathered, and the tofu sold out in seconds. Sho continued his daily routine, teasing his friends and others to gather points, using those points to unlock new abilities, allowing him to bother people even more and collect even more points. Eventually, he completed all the planets on his star map. At that moment, a new energy and a new weapon appeared, a sword he could summon into the real world and control. Later, Sho returned to his class and found his classmates talking about the recent increase in strange incidents. Then, the student council president said, "What do you think? Should we form a secret group to fight criminals and help the country?" No one paid him much attention, so he tried to annoy Sho instead. But Sho ignored him as well, which frustrated him, and Sho gained more points. That night, during superpower training, the teacher brought them a magical stone and said, "This stone will help you train your star map and make you stronger." Sho was excited and rushed to use the stone, but his star map was already so powerful that it rejected the use of the teacher's stone. So Sho decided to keep annoying people to gain even more power. The next day, the old man was still training, doing flashy sword moves and acrobatics in front of Sho, hoping to impress him and get him to ask for training. But Sho passed by him in the blink of an eye, completely uninterested. Later, at school, the student council president was arm wrestling students, and no one could beat him. He defeated everyone who challenged him. When he saw Sho, he mocked him and said, "What do you say? Want to arm wrestle me with my left hand? It's weaker than the right. Should be a fair match for your weak strength." Sho said, "Deal." They started the match. Sho grabbed his hand and boom, won instantly. Everyone was shocked, and Sho earned a massive number of points from the crowd. Then Sho told him, "My left arm is actually a bit strong. What do you say we try with the right? Maybe you'll have a chance." They played again, this time with the right arm, and Sho won again. The president was even more stunned, and Sho collected more points from him. The class president was furious, but our hero, Sho, didn't stay silent either. He said mockingly, "Can you believe it? My power increased after I held your hand. How is that even possible? You must be my lucky star." The class president grew even angrier, while Sho kept earning more and more points from him. After that, the students went to eat, and Sho followed them carrying tofu, just to annoy them and ruin their day. That's Sho in all his annoying glory. Jia came to Sho and asked him, "How did your power increase?" Sho raised his voice and replied, "It's all thanks to the class president. He's my lucky star today. Just touching his hand boosted my power, and I was able to beat him." Jia said, "Since your power increased, I could tell the teacher. He might give you extra magic stones." Sho asked, "Where does that teacher work?" Jia replied, "He works in the Earth Network." Sho was surprised and asked, "Are there other networks?" Jia said, "Yes, there's also the Sky Network. It's far more powerful than the Earth Network." Sho said, "Alright, got it." When Sho returned home, he heard people talking outside. He eavesdropped and realized they were from the Sky Network. Their leader went to the old man and offered him a position in the Sky Network, but the old man refused, saying, "I'm not free right now." The leader replied, "Fine, but you should know, the vacant position in the Sky Network is meant for you and no one else." Then they left. Sho, who had been watching from afar, realized the old man had a connection to the Sky Network, so he decided to learn swordsmanship from him. The next day, Sho approached the old man and asked him to train him. The old man was delighted and said, "Come anytime you want." Sho responded, "All right, but I have one condition." The old man asked, "What is it?" Sho said, "I want you to help Lu with her studies. I'm too busy to tutor her myself right now." The old man was irritated, and Lu was even more annoyed. Meanwhile, Sho continued earning points from both of them as usual, and the day ended like that. The next day, Sho was sitting in class when he noticed his points were rising. He was confused at first, then realized it was because of Lu. She was giving the old man a hard time during their lesson, and her power was reacting, helping him earn more points. While leaving class, Sho saw Sai walk past him. She was unusually calm, almost too calm, as if she was hiding something. At the same time, the old man was teaching Lu some math problems. She was exhausted and constantly annoying him. She asked, "When did you learn how to count?" He replied, "Before you were born." Lu said, "So you're 81 years old and I'm 10. If we subtract 10 from 81, that means you spent 71 years not knowing how to count." She was really annoying, dear viewer. The old man became furious, and Sho kept gaining more points. The old man then said to Sho, "I've taught her like you asked. Now let me teach you swordsmanship." Sho replied, "Deal." The old man brought out a set of weights and said, "I want you to wear them gradually, from light to heavy. This glove is the heaviest. It weighs over 300 kilograms. Start slowly until you can handle it." Sho looked at the gear, then picked up the glove with one hand and threw it into the air. He said, "My power's been increasing lately. Let's just start right away." The old man was astonished by Shu and said, "All right, let's begin." Then he grabbed a piece of paper and told him, "I'll teach you that everything can be cut." The old man's energy began to gather intensely around the paper. He then struck the air with such force that it tore through the space entirely. Even the wall in front of them was split in two. After that, the old man threw his sword to Shu so he could train with it. Shu continued his training, and his energy kept increasing. He was learning at an incredible speed and quickly became a sword expert. It seemed this was his true talent. When evening came, the old man said to Shu, "I want to ask you something. When does a person become truly strong?" Shu replied, "When he breaks all the rules." The old man shook his head and said, "No, that's not what I meant. What I mean is, when does a person gain the kind of power that allows him to break the rules?" Shu responded, "I'm not sure. But what I do know is that I want to live a peaceful life and protect my sister. Nothing more." The old man said, "But great power gives you the chance to protect more people and to earn more money." Shu replied, "Even if someone gave me a mission, I wouldn't accept it. I don't want to rely on anyone. Maybe it's because of the way I was raised, but I know that the path of life is tough and requires hard work. And that's why, no matter how hard life gets, I won't give up. I just want to live it my own way, even if that way is wrong." After hearing those words, the old man's admiration for Shu grew even more. He nodded and said, "All right, fair enough." The next day, the old man was teaching Luo some academic exercises. He had brought her some potato chips, which seemed to help her focus and understand the material more quickly, even though she was still just a child. Suddenly, the old man sensed someone from the Sky Network behind him. He went over to stand with him, and it was clear that Luo was annoyed by both of them, which caused Shu to gain more points. Shu was surprised to see someone from the Sky Network there. The person's name was Sure. After that, Shu rushed to the teacher and found him standing with Sure. When Luo saw Shu, she asked, "Shu, what are you doing here now?" He replied, "I forgot something and came back to get it." She said, "All right, I'll go bring it to you," and went inside to retrieve it. Meanwhile, Shu was explaining to the old man the dangers that had started emerging in the country. He asked the old man to join the Sky Network, but the old man refused. After Shu left, the old man handed Shu 2 sodium tubes to check whether his power had increased. Shu used the tubes, and the liquid inside them turned deep black, a sign that his power had reached grade A, one of the highest ranks. Then, the color changed again, indicating that his power had exceeded even grade A. Luo's grade had also risen above A, making it all feel very real. Afterward, Shu went out and buried the efficiency tubes so that no one would find them. At that moment, the old man ran into him and asked about the results, but Shu told him he was still weak as usual. The old man was shocked and walked away. Later, Shu continued training with his star map until he unlocked a new power, an aura that surrounded his body, shielding him from harm and increasing his strength. Inside, Shu thought to himself, "I want to know what happened with Luo." At that time, Luo was dreaming about her star map, and she too was unlocking a new ability. Shu said to her, "Use your power now." The girl used her power and summoned an ant from her black hole, telling him that she had started sensing the energy of dead creatures. That ant had died just the day before. After that, our hero took her outside to test her power on other creatures. She summoned a beautiful bird, but he told her that such creatures wouldn't be helpful if she got into a fight, and that they needed to find her something stronger. She asked, "What are you thinking?" He replied, "Come with me. I'll get you the best thing to use as a weapon." She said, "All right," and went with him. He took her to a pig shop so she could summon a creature that fit her dark energy. She said, "Do you want me to become the pig girl or what?" He laughed and replied, "Yes," and continued teasing her like usual. They waited until one of the pigs was slaughtered, then returned home. He said, "Summon your pig now." She replied, "Okay," and did. Sho tried to check if it was just like a real pig, and in the end, discovered it was. So, he pulled out his sword to see if he could kill it, and he did, in a second. At that moment, Lu was about to finish Sho off, but he told her, "I'm sorry, I'll cook dinner for you." So she calmed down and sat to eat with him. While eating, Sho seemed very happy. Thanks to the money he had started earning recently from selling tofu, their living conditions were getting better. He told her, "Soon, we'll be able to buy this house. No more rent." But suddenly, Sho sensed people with supernatural abilities nearby. He went out to spy on them, and Lu clung to him, insisting on going with him. "Don't worry, I won't slow you down," she said. They ran toward the source of the energy to catch up with the events. At the same time, the gang had gathered on a bridge and was preparing to confront the police. Sho and Lu stood watching the battle. One of the policemen was effortlessly deflecting the criminal's attacks. No one could get close to him, but suddenly he lost focus, and one of the criminals charged at him. After realizing his strength, the officer started running to reach his teammates. He did, and another round of fighting began. The criminal was incredibly strong, classified as a 4th-rank threat, meaning he was extremely powerful. He managed to kill 2 officers, then fled with his men. The police began regrouping and planning to trap them. Sho told his sister to return, and he decided to go after the criminals alone. He arrived at a house and found it surrounded by police from all sides. It seemed the gang was hiding inside. One gang member said to the leader, "What do you think? Should we surrender? There are too many people outside. We can't take them all on." The boss replied sarcastically, "Surrender? Are you an idiot? Come with me, I'll protect you. Don't worry about anything." He took the 2 men and stepped out of the house. Immediately the police opened fire from all directions, but the boss used them as a shield. They took the bullets for him. He was a truly wicked creature. The police began chasing after him. One of them threw his sword and managed to pierce his body. They thought that was enough to kill him, but no. The criminal stood back up as if nothing had happened. He looked at them and said, "So, are you ready to die?" Then suddenly, everyone noticed Sho descending from above. "Would you believe me if I told you I came here by accident?" he said. The police grew angry, thinking he was one of the criminals, and some of them were ordered to attack him. 2 men charged at full force to kill Sho, but he was incredibly skilled. No one could even touch him. He fought them both with high-level mastery. At the same time, a few police officers began attacking the criminal, and it seemed like they were about to defeat him. But the criminal struck one of them and provoked the other before finishing him off completely. That guy was unbelievably strong. Meanwhile, Sho had already finished off his 2 opponents and stood watching the others. Suddenly, a metal plate beneath his feet came loose, and he fell to the ground. A police officer tried to take advantage of the moment and strike him mid-air, but in the end, he was the one who lost. That left only the criminal and Sho to face off. The criminal looked at Sho and said, "Your turn to die." But suddenly, Sho powered up and the two clashed. Sho's strength was overwhelming, and he managed to defeat the criminal. Sho had proven to be a true master. After the battle, Sho returned home and was met by Lu, who was very worried about him. He reassured her, saying, "Don't worry, everything is under control. Come with me, I want to cheer you up." She replied, "Didn't you say that yesterday? And you ended up taking me to a pig shop." He laughed and said, "No, this time it's different. Don't worry." They went out together and ran into the old man, who asked, "Where are you two headed now?" Lu replied, "Sho is just taking me to a nearby restaurant, right, Sho?" He confirmed, "Yeah, that's right." They climbed over a few rooftops, and Sho asked Lu to scan the area within a kilometer to check if anyone suspicious was nearby. She said, "Okay," summoned her bird and scanned the area. "There's nothing," she said. He replied, "Great. I'll go check it out myself, and if everything's clear, I'll tell you to come." Lu agreed. Sho arrived at the spot, found it empty, and sent her a message to join him. When Lu arrived, Sho asked, "Do you sense any dead energy here?" She replied, "Yes, 3 people. 1 tall and 2 short." He said, "All right, take the tall man's energy." She absorbed it, and he told her, "Now summon it, so we can confirm if it's the one." She said, "I'm out of energy right now. I'll need a day to recover." He replied, "All right, no problem. We did great today. Let's head back." Lu responded, "Head back? Weren't you taking me to a restaurant?" Sho said, "Weren't we just joking?" She snapped, "No! You want us to go back on empty stomachs? You want the old man to talk trash about us?" He laughed and said, "Okay, fine. Let's celebrate what we achieved today." He took her to a restaurant downtown. They sat and ate. She clearly had a big appetite. While they were eating, Sho said to her, "What happened between us today must stay a secret. Don't show your powers to anyone." She nodded and said, "Okay." Sho looked at Lu as she ate and said, "I know that living with me is hard. If you were still at the orphanage, you'd probably be eating better than this. I know my financial situation is affecting you, and I'm sorry if I've let you down." Upon hearing his words, Lu started to cry and said, "I don't care about the food or anything else. I just want to live with you in our home." Sho was deeply moved by her words. He began to remember how close they used to be when they were younger, and he recalled the first time he was able to gather enough money to rent the house they currently lived in. Then he told her, "I want the same thing. I want to live somewhere I can call our home, and from today on, we'll stay together forever." Lu was overjoyed by his words, and the day ended on that warm note. Meanwhile, the Sky Network held a meeting to investigate the identity of the person who defeated the criminal. They said, "From the way he spoke and acted, he seems like a teenager. But if a teenager can already reach this level of power, what will he become when he grows up? We need to find him quickly." At that time, Sho was out selling his tofu. His reputation had grown so much that all his tofu would sell out within just 10 minutes. Sho felt a bit upset because he could no longer absorb negative emotions from people. They all seemed to love the tofu and its scent. While he was selling, a man approached him and asked about the tofu. When Sho told him it was sold out, the man got upset, and Sho gained 50 points from that. That gave him an idea. Later, another man came up and said, "I want tofu." Sho replied, "You want tofu?" The man said, "Yes." Sho said, "Come closer." The tofu was completely sold out. The man got even more upset, and Sho earned 100 points from him. The next day, Lu, who had been asleep, felt her energy return. She woke up, went to Sho, and shared the news. Then she showed him the creature she had summoned. He asked her, "How do you control it?" The girl replied, "It does whatever I want. I could even make it hit you right now if I wanted." "Please don't," Sho said, pleading. Then Lu told him that she could also see their memories. She added with a smile, "By the way, your punch was really strong." Sho replied, "You can see their memories too? That's great." Suddenly, Lu said she saw in one of their memories a place where a large amount of stolen money was hidden. She suggested they go and retrieve it. But Sho refused, saying, "We can't do that. If we take it, we'll have to hand it over to the police. Then they'll ask us how we found it, and people will find out about your powers." Lu became upset and said, "Why don't we just keep the money and buy the house we're living in? Can't we use it for something that will help us?" Sho replied, "I want to buy that house too, but not in the wrong way." Then he started teasing her even more, which made her even sadder. She left him and walked away. The next day, Sho went to school and found the entire class talking about the incident that happened on the bridge. When Sho saw them, he began teasing everyone again and gained some points from them. Afterward, Sho sat in his seat and asked Jia about the Blessed Land. Jia told him, "It's a land filled with spiritual energy. If you train there, your power will increase quickly, and you'll reach awakening." Sho replied, "That sounds good, but the land is really expensive. Isn't there another way I can train?" Jia answered, "There is. You can use magic stones instead. I heard they'll be giving us some tomorrow." Sho said, "All right then. That's perfect." The next day, a new principal arrived at the school. He was a member of the Sky Network and had come specifically to train the Dewan class, also known as the Special Abilities class. As soon as the principal, named Li Xiao, walked past Sho felt something strange about him. He realized that this man wasn't ordinary. He was definitely a member of the Sky Network. Li Xiao also noticed that one of the students had sensed something, but he ignored it and continued with the welcoming ceremony. After the ceremony ended, Li Xiao went straight to the Dewan class. He warned them about the mysterious individual who had recently appeared in the city and described his features in detail so they could report him immediately immediately if they saw him. He then distributed magical stones to the students for training, each based on their level. Since Shou's level was low, he only received 2 stones. Later, Shou pulled Jia aside and asked him if the spiritual stones could be sold and how much they were worth. Jia explained that the stones were from the Sky Network and were prohibited from being sold, but he knew someone in the black market who could buy them. Indeed, he contacted his friend, and they agreed on a price. Each stone was worth 120,000 yen, which meant that if Shou sold them, he could easily afford to buy the house fully furnished. Meanwhile, Li Xiao went to visit the old man to question him about the new sword-wielding individual who had appeared. He suspected that the old man might have trained him. However, the old man denied knowing anything and told him it was inappropriate for a respectable man to doubt others. Li Xiao felt embarrassed and left. Shu then returned home, where he was greeted by Luo, who asked him about the Sky Network and the Earth domain. Shu explained everything he knew, then said, "I have good news for you." Luo was thrilled and asked what it was. Shu showed her the money he had saved and gave her a new phone. He then told her he had spoken to the landlord and that the ownership of the house would be transferred to his name starting the next day. Luo was overwhelmed with joy. She hugged him and cried tears of happiness. It was a truly beautiful moment. Afterward, Shu resumed his training and continued to increase his power. Luo's energy also began to grow. As Shu received the deed to the house, he got a message from the school notifying him that they would be traveling to a new training location. He realized he wouldn't be returning home for a few days. The next day, the students boarded transport vehicles headed to the training site. While on the way, Jia began explaining the place they were going to. This area is called the Ruins. It was formed after the alien invasion. Inside, you'll find illusions, treasures, and many other things. But the most important thing in that ruin is the core eye. If someone manages to obtain it, the ruin disappears completely. The students listened carefully. All of them focused intently. Jia continued speaking, saying, "The leader of the Sky Network managed to open a ruin a few days ago and retrieve the core eye, which turned out to be a sword." The students got very excited. They arrived at the training location, where their instructor gathered them and said, "You're here on a secret mission. This is mainly to increase your experience, nothing more. But if anyone leaks any information, they will face military punishment." The students responded, "Understood." They all went inside. Each received their meal and sat down to eat. However, there was one chubby student who wasn't happy with the place and kept asking for a chair, saying he didn't want to eat sitting on the ground. There weren't any chairs available, but eventually, a soldier saw him and gave him his own chair to stop the complaints. The soldier then sat on the ground instead. When Shou saw what happened, he wasn't pleased. He went over to the student and said, "Get up from the chair." The student pretended not to hear him, so Shou got angry and punched him. The instructor then came and took the student inside, while Shou kept eating as if nothing happened. Later that night, everyone began training, except for Shou, who didn't know how to train like them. He thought to himself, "Why should I train when I can gain points another way? Let's go have some fun." He went to the class leader and started annoying him while he was trying to train. The leader tried to ignore him, but Shou kept going until he managed to earn some points and use them to buy apples. Then Shou tried calling Lu to check on her, but there was no signal, which made him very worried and feel like something might be wrong. Later, he went to eat again. This time, the cook gave him extra food, and even one of the soldiers offered him his chair, probably because of the manly thing Shou did the day before. But Shou refused to take the chair and sat on the ground again, eating with Jia. After the meal, Shou went back to bothering the class leader, who was clearly fed up. He ran off to train far from the camp. But did Shou let him go? Of course not. Shou chased after him, kept teasing him until he collected all the points he wanted. Shou then went to train alone, opened his star map, and managed to increase his power. He felt much stronger. When he went to lunch, the class leader approached him angrily and said, "You've been acting like a big shot ever since you beat me in the arm wrestling match. Well, I've powered up too, and if we fight now, I'll crush you." Shou agreed to the rematch. The teacher overheard them and came to be the referee. The two locked hands and got ready to compete. All the students were cheering for the class leader, hoping Shou would lose so they could finally be rid of him, which is exactly what Shou wanted. The moment the teacher raised his hand and said, "Go!" Zhang Shou defeated the class leader in less than a second. Everyone was shocked, and Shou started collecting points from all of them. The teacher too was impressed by Shu's strength after witnessing it and said to him, "Come on, play against me." Shu replied, "All right," and accepted the challenge. Although the teacher was much stronger than the class president, he also lost easily. The teacher was overjoyed by Shu's power and said, "You have a brilliant future ahead of you. Keep this up, and no one will be able to stand in your way." Then Shu had an idea and said jokingly, No, teacher, it's all thanks to the class president. He's my lucky charm. Every time I touch his hand, my energy increases." The class president overheard him and kept giving him points generously. While they were sitting, Li Xiao suddenly noticed thick fog entering the area. He realized that this wasn't normal for this place, so he rang the emergency alarm and ordered everyone to evacuate. Shu heard the alarm and tried to escape with the others, but the fog caught up to them in seconds and swallowed everyone inside. Shu fell into a strange place he had never seen before and thought to himself, "I've never seen this place in my life." Before he could finish his thoughts, a skeletal monster attacked him. Shu dodged all its attacks skillfully. grabbed his axe, and finished it off. Then he climbed up to a high spot to figure out where he should go, but suddenly many monsters appeared beneath him, trying to kill him. He kept running, and none of them could catch him. Suddenly, a few students came running toward him, shouting, "Run! There are monsters behind us!" Shu turned and saw one of them being killed, so he rushed over and eliminated all the monsters within seconds. The other students stood frozen, shocked by the power he had just displayed. Suddenly, a monster surrounded Sho, and he didn't know what to do. The other students just stood there watching, and none of them dared to help. Sho then gathered his strength and managed to defeat the monster. Afterward, he approached them and said, "This place isn't safe. Go find somewhere else to hide." One of the girls replied, "But where are you going? Stay with us and protect us." Shu didn't respond. Instead, he said, "Monsters can only be killed by cutting off their heads. Take this axe and fight them." Then he left. After he walked away, one of them said, "We should have helped him. Maybe he would have stayed with us." That day ended, and later Shu began fighting skeletal warriors to obtain a weapon. He successfully defeated them and took a sword from one of them. He kept running through the ruins, searching for a place to hide before nightfall. While running, he saw someone fire a flare into the sky. Without thinking, he ran toward the flare's location and launched another flare to the ground. Looking toward the source of the flare, Sho saw a person standing there holding a flare gun who was strangely emitting energy points. At that moment, Shu suspected this might be the spy Jia had warned him about. And indeed, this person turned out to be a spy sent by another organization. He already knew that the students would be entering the ruins and came with 6 companions. They had agreed to shoot flares into the sky if they got separated so they could regroup, but Sho's presence ruined their plan, and that's why the spy was visibly frustrated and leaking energy points. He then pretended to be friendly with Sho, acting as if he were from the same class, and claimed that he had entered the ruins by accident. Shu thought to himself, "Let's play along," and said, "I'm also from the Divine Arts class. Let's go together." The spy noticed the sword Shu was carrying and asked, "That's a nice sword. Did you get it from the ruins?" Shu replied, "Yes. Can I hold it for a second?" The spy asked as he cautiously moved closer. Shu pretended he would hand it over, but at the last moment, he pulled it toward himself. It was a trap to gain energy points. After that, the spy said he was going to leave, but Shu insisted, "Don't leave me. I'm afraid to walk alone. I'll come with you." The spy was stunned, but replied, "All right." They continued running together. Shu pretended to be slower and unable to keep up. The spy thought he could outrun him and escape, but to his surprise, Shu kept up effortlessly, matching his speed. Then suddenly, monsters began emerging from underground to attack them. The boy was trying to escape from the monsters, and Sho pretended to be scared as well, running alongside him. The boy wanted to take the weapon from Sho, while Sho was just messing with him. Then Sho shoved him and ran far from the skeletal monsters. The boy was about to die, but he pulled out a hidden knife and managed to kill the monsters with it. He kept running until he reached Sho, furious and wanting to kill him for pushing him, but he decided to kill him while he was asleep so he wouldn't resist or cause trouble. Later, the two of them went to a high spot to rest. Sho pretended to sleep at first, and when the boy came close to kill him, Sho opened his eyes and said, "I'm fine now. I won't need any sleep." The boy was enraged. In the morning, Sho went down to get food, pulled out some tofu, and started eating. When the boy saw the tofu, he was shocked and asked him how he made it, insisting it was impossible he had it with him. Sho kept teasing him until the boy finally lost it and decided to kill him. The boy was very strong and managed to land some hits on Sho, but Sho wasn't easy either. He dodged all the attacks and struck back. The boy became even angrier and attacked Sho with full force, but Sho skillfully dodged every hit. While dodging, Sho's sword fell to the ground. The boy thought he had the upper hand and was about to finish him, but Sho pulled out his second sword and finished him off. That's when the spy realized Sho was the same person who had defeated the criminal before. He collapsed to the ground and died. Sho looked at the boy's dead body and said, "This world really is terrifying. Yesterday, I was just joking with him, messing around, and today, I killed him. This isn't funny at all, but no matter how hard the path gets, I'll walk it." He left the area, and as he walked, he entered a forest and saw apples on the ground. He realized the trees were apple trees and started gathering some. While collecting, a group of squirrels appeared, very angry, and started throwing stones at him. He managed to gain some points from them, and then ran away with the apples. He kept running until he reached a river, drank from it, and said to himself, "I've been running for a long time and haven't met anyone. Does this ruin have no end?" He hadn't even finished his thought when a pack of wolves attacked him. He tried to run right, but found the whole wolf tribe there, so he turned back the way he came. Sho kept running and thought, "How come I'm not tired after all this running? Maybe it's the apples. Actually, I feel like I can run even faster." And indeed, he increased his speed and managed to escape all the wolves. He eventually reached the place where he had given the axe to the group of people and found that their numbers had increased. He sat with them and said, "I'll stay with you for one night, then I'll leave." The kids were trying to convince him to protect them, but he refused. He asked them, "When was the last time you ate?" The girl then started crying and said, "We haven't eaten in 3 days." He pulled out an apple and started eating it, then told them, "If you want this apple, head in that direction for 2 days. You'll find many trees full of apples there, but be careful of the squirrels. They don't like anyone touching their fruit." The kids got frustrated with him and gave him extra points, knowing they likely wouldn't get out of there. One of them grabbed the axe and approached him to forcefully take the apple, but Shu outmaneuvered him and took the axe back. Then he said, "It's time for me to go." He took his sword and the axe to fight monsters, but before leaving, he left them 2 apples without them noticing. Shu went on his way looking for something to do when suddenly he heard the sound of an approaching enemy. He stepped back as a skeleton attacked him with a spear. Shu grabbed the spear and wouldn't let go. More skeletons gathered to attack, but Shu knocked down the one in front of him, took his spear, and ran off. The skeletons kept searching for him, but couldn't find him. After giving up, they decided to leave the area. As soon as they left, Shu decided to take the rest of their weapons and follow them to bother them even more. Elsewhere, a group of students and teachers were lying in wait for the skeletal knights, hoping to kill them, but they didn't know how to deal with them, so they decided to try and kill the leader of the knights, hoping it would scatter the rest and allow them to finish the job. They looked for someone who looked different and chose the one without a spear, the one carrying only a sword. They assumed he was the leader, not realizing that Shu had stolen his weapon. The sniper took position and, boom, shot him in the head. Everyone celebrated, thinking they had defeated the knights, but the leader of the knights was still alive, and he ordered his followers to shoot arrows at them, leaving them with no choice but to flee. They moved to another area, puzzled, saying, "What did we do? Didn't we kill their leader? How are they still focused and attacking us?" One of the instructors replied, "There's only one possible explanation. The one we killed had his weapon stolen, but who would dare to steal his weapon?" Before they could finish their conversation, they spotted Shu lying in wait for the skeletal knights. He suddenly jumped on one of them, struck him down, took his spear, and walked away. The instructor then said, "So now we know who's been stealing the spears." He added, "Was there really a student in the Dion class with this kind of strength?" One of the students recognized Shu and said, "Yes, he's a student in our class named Shu. His energy system awakened after he defeated the class leader during the rest challenge. He seems to have incredible power." The instructor responded, "That's why we must recruit this boy into our ranks." On the other side, Shu was sitting on a tree, completely unbothered by soldiers, skeletons, or anything else. He was lost in thoughts about his past life and how much he missed his sister Lu and longed to return to her. After some deep thinking, he decided to continue on his path quickly to make the most of the ruins, and then return to her. As he walked along the path, the skeleton warriors had set an ambush for him to kill him. They surrounded him from all sides, ready to finish him off. But Shu surprised them by activating his spiritual energy into his spear, wielding it with great skill. He attacked the knights one by one and defeated them all. After finishing them off, he rushed to collect their weapons and left the place. Meanwhile, Lu was extremely angry because Shu hadn't returned home in 3 days. She was planning to scold him when he came back, but then she found a letter he had left. When she read it, she was overjoyed and decided to wait for him. Back to the teacher and his group. As they walked peacefully, they were shocked to find that all the skeleton warriors had been wiped out. Not only that, but their weapons were also gone. Of course, everyone quickly realized this was Shu's doing. It was his style. The teacher became more and more impressed by Shu's overwhelming strength and decided to create a plan to help him defeat the last remaining skeletons. At that moment, Shu had reached a new area where he activated his star map. He pulled out a yellow fruit and ate it. It appeared to give him even more control over the spears. At the same time, the students and teachers were lying in wait for the final group of skeletons to ambush them. Suddenly, a spear came crashing down from the sky and took out one of the knights. Then, more spears rained down from all directions, breaking them apart one by one. Shu then appeared and finished off the remaining enemies with his own hands. After witnessing this, the teacher decided to join him with the rest of the students to help. But Shu had already finished off all the knights in seconds, before any of them could even reach him. Everyone came down afterward, and they were all in shock at Shu's incredible power. The teacher was approaching to thank him, but before he could speak, Shu said, "All those weapons behind me are mine. I won't let you take a single one." The man replied, "All right, don't worry. I won't take anything. But isn't all that gear a bit too much for you? You won't be able to carry it all." Shu replied, "You know what? You're right. There are a lot of people behind me." Then he walked over to the weapons and acted like a street vendor. He sat down and called out, "Any spear or sword for 1,000 yen. Come get the best weapons from the skeleton soldiers." The kids gathered around Shu and began exchanging their expensive tools for weapons so they could fight the monsters. Shu was overjoyed. 2 of Shu's classmates came along with a bit of money and wanted to buy a sword. Shu told them, "With the little cash you have, all you can get is a hatchet. But don't worry, it's solid and cuts well." The guy was thrilled and walked away. Shu then muttered, "Finally, I got rid of that crappy axe." The boy got annoyed and energy points appeared from him. Then the teacher gathered them again, and they continued walking through the ruins. They walked until their feet hurt from the long march. The teacher glanced over at Shu and noticed that he was still moving effortlessly. He walked over to Shu and chatted with him for a while. Shu asked him about the rest of the students and if anyone had been injured. The teacher said, "All the students are fine. No one got hurt. Most of the casualties were military cadets who died protecting the students." Shu was touched by this and felt the teacher was kind-hearted. Later, they stopped at a spot and lit a fire to keep warm. Shu noticed the teachers were exhausted and couldn't move, which moved him, so he gave them some apples to eat. As soon as they ate them, Their energy returned, and they were delighted. Some of the students, upon seeing how much better the teachers looked, came over to Shu and said, "We want apples too." Shu looked at them and said, "You're just a bunch of useless kids standing behind the teachers to protect you. You do nothing. And now that you saw me give them something to help them recover, you come to take it too? Get lost. You're not getting anything from me." So they left. But one of the rich students approached Shu and handed him a watch worth 3,000 yen in exchange for 3 apples. Shu, of course, immediately agreed and handed him the apples. Right after that, the students heard the sound of monsters approaching, so they formed a circle to protect themselves from the ghosts. At that moment, Shu felt as though his sword wanted to emerge from within him and slay the ghosts, but he held it back, knowing he couldn't let the others see it. However, once the ghosts sensed the presence of Shu's sword, they became terrified and fled the area entirely. After witnessing the ghosts' reaction, Shu decided he would chase them later to collect some points. Eventually, the group of students reached the ruin center. There was a huge number of people who had managed to arrive there as well. Some students were talking about Sai and how powerful she was, having taken down all the knights on her own. One of them mentioned that her energy had also undergone an awakening, and she had become extremely strong. Shu was intrigued when he heard this, and the girl caught his attention, but he thought to himself, since there are so many people here, and I still have a lot of weapons, why not sell them? So people gathered around him again, and he began selling his weapons. Suddenly, one of his classmates approached and told him, "Come, the unit leader wants to see you." Shu was shocked, but followed him anyway. Sai was there too. The unit leader thanked both of them for what they had done, and asked for their help the next day to go deeper into the ruins. He then took out his sword and threw it into the opening to measure its depth. His weapon consumed a huge amount of energy, unlike Shu's sword, which didn't consume any energy at all. When they realized the opening was about 100 meters deep, they decided not to do anything that day, and to explore everything the next day, as they didn't know what dangers awaited below. Naturally, everyone agreed. Later, Shu sat quietly in a corner and began counting the negative emotions he had gathered. While doing so, he discovered that there were 9 spies among them. These individuals didn't have names, only numbers, indicating that they were indeed spies. The boy was trying to look around to figure out who the spies were, but he didn't notice what was happening on the other side. Meanwhile, teacher Li Xiao arrived at the ruin center, carrying an entire apple tree with him, clearly possessing great power. Shou went over to him and saw a very angry squirrel coming out of the tree because they had taken its apples. When the squirrel saw Shou, it got even angrier and jumped at him to attack, but Shou grabbed it and gave it an apple. The squirrel instantly calmed down and turned meek like a kitten. Then Jia ran over to Shou to check on him and see what was going on. Shou told him, "Don't worry, I'm fine. Everything's under control." Jia was very happy and told him what had happened, how he managed to defeat 4 knights on his own, and that his energy had increased a lot since entering the ruins. Shou was glad for his friend and gave him a spear to fight with, this time for free because they were friends. One of the spies then approached Shou and asked for a spear, saying, "Give me a spear now, and I'll pay you 50,000 yen when we get out." Shou replied, "There's no guarantee for that. I'm not giving you anything." The guy got angry and started releasing negative energy. When Shou saw his name, he realized he was one of the spies among the enemies. After that, teacher Li Xiao gathered everyone and told them, "Tomorrow we'll go deep into the ruins. There's no plan or anything. Whoever we face, we kill. That's it." The teachers were surprised by what he said and tried to convince him to come up with a plan, but he refused to listen. Later, while the kids were asleep, the spies took advantage of the opportunity and descended into the ruins ahead of them, intending to steal the core eye. But Shu was aware of their plan and caught one of them, refusing to let him go down. The spy got angry, and a fight broke out between them. Meanwhile, the other 8 spies who had already descended realized one of them was missing, but they said, "The mission is more important," and continued with their objective. The spy who was fighting Shu was just about to attack when Shu suddenly shouted at the top of his voice, "You want to sneak down before everyone to steal the core eye, you spy? I won't let you." All the kids woke up to Shu's voice, and Li Xiao also noticed what was happening. The spy suddenly felt a strong aura approaching, and indeed, the teacher struck him down in one blow. After that, Teacher Li said, "I didn't agree to attack yesterday because I knew there were spies, and I was waiting for them to expose themselves." Then, he ordered all the students capable of fighting to gather so they could eliminate the monsters and retrieve the core eye before the spies could. The capable students gathered, including Shu and the girl Sai, and they went to the unit leader. Li Xiao said to the commander, "I need you to stay here and protect the rest of the academy's students." The commander replied, "Fine, but next time you plan something, I'd appreciate if you inform me." Li Xiao agreed and then gathered everyone. He gave them a motivational speech before the battle and said, "The most important thing is to use your brains. If something happens, the area down there is dangerous, and the only way out is through smart thinking." Everyone agreed and was ready. Then the commander asked one of the Sky Network members to create a rope ladder for them to descend. She did, and everyone started going down. While Shu was climbing down, he felt something strange from his sword but kept going normally. When they reached the bottom, they were shocked. All the spies had committed suicide. Not a single one of them remained alive. Li, upon seeing them, said, These are strange rituals they perform to die. Let's not get involved with them. They continued forward and reached a place filled with mysterious crystals that looked truly strange. Suddenly, a large number of ghosts emerged and began attacking the students. But Lee activated his energy and struck down many of the ghosts to protect them. However, their numbers were overwhelming, and they surrounded the rest of the group. The teachers quickly realized that the ghosts had weak bodies and were easy to eliminate, so they joined the fight. Everyone fought skillfully, except for Shu. Every monster that approached him would flee upon sensing the powerful aura from his sword. Shu grew frustrated because no one was attacking him, so he decided to start killing ghosts himself. After defeating several of them, Shu noticed his sword absorbing their energy, making him even stronger. But then, suddenly, a ghost hand killed one of the soldiers during the battle. The shocking part was that this wasn't an ordinary ghost. It was the same person who had been among the spies. The ritual the spies had performed was meant to turn him into a ghost, so he could sneak in and steal the Eye of Formation unnoticed. Lee, upon witnessing what happened, grew furious and cast a powerful defensive spell to eliminate him. Then Li Xiao gathered the other teachers to discuss a way to defeat the ghost, but they had no idea where it was or how to locate it. Suddenly, Shu felt his sword guiding him and telling him to strike to the right. He obeyed, and to everyone's surprise, hit the spy directly. Lee was stunned and asked, "How did you know where he was?" Shu replied, "Would you believe me if I said it was luck?" Lee said, "No." Shu said, "Then strike over there." Lee followed the suggestion and once again hit the spy. Shu was shocked that it worked again by chance. After a few more attempts that missed, Lee realized the earlier hits really had been lucky. He then stepped away from Shu and prepared to continue the mission. Suddenly, a massive gate opened and countless enemies began to emerge, threatening to annihilate them. The leader of the skeletons appeared and said, "How dare you enter my fortress? None of you will leave here alive." Lee turned to the students and said, "Do you see that spear he's holding? That's likely the Eye of Formation. Leave him to me. I'll defeat the enemy commander and take it from him. The rest of you, protect yourselves and wipe out the others." Everyone agreed and the battle began. Lee fought fiercely and was able to strike the enemy leader and even kill his horse. But the commander, enraged, went all out and the two engaged in a deadly duel. Meanwhile, the Sky Network members and the students began battling the weaker monsters and successfully started taking them down one by one. One of the monsters was about to strike Shu, but Sai managed to protect him and defeated all the remaining enemies on her own. Shu got excited too and rushed forward to fight, but as soon as the skeletons sensed the power of his sword, they fled in fear. At that moment, Shu decided to leave the battle and head deeper into the castle, hoping to find something valuable before returning. He actually entered the castle, but he felt something strange within himself, like his sword was warning him that someone was watching him. He walked into a certain area where a spy was hiding, waiting to assassinate him. However, the sword noticed him first and eliminated the spy instantly. Meanwhile, the battle between Lee and the enemy commander raged on fiercely. Lee managed to grab the commander's spear and refused to let go, despite the commander trying to shake him off to the left and right. At the same time, Shu arrived at a very strange place with a sign that said, "No entry." Of course, he decided to enter anyway. As soon as he walked in, he found many guards standing motionless, all holding spears. When Shu saw the spears, he approached them to take the weapons, but the moment he got close, the guards began to move and attack him. Shu drew his sword, and all the guards were terrified of its power and backed away. He began collecting the spears from them one by one. One guard refused to give up his spear, but Shu pulled out his sword and threatened him. The guard couldn't resist, so Shu took the spear by force. Then, Shu moved through the remaining guards, taking all their weapons. Meanwhile, the enemies had overwhelmed the teachers and students, and the situation was getting worse. One of the teachers was about to be killed by the skeletons, but the girl managed to wipe out all the enemies in an instant. Master Li continued fighting the enemy commander in an intense battle. The commander managed to restrain Li and prevent him from moving, but Li unleashed all his power and attacked again, grabbing one of the commander's spears. At the same time, Sai had taken down a large number of enemies, and her energy was nearly depleted. At that moment, Shu had approached a place that appeared to contain the true core eye. The enemy commander sensed Shu's presence, left his spear with Li, and rushed swiftly toward Shu's location. As for Li, after taking the spear and realizing the ruins didn't disappear, he understood that it wasn't the real core eye. He continued chasing the commander until he reached the guards. The enemy commander then ordered the guards to kill Li, and it seemed that he had fallen into a trap. Meanwhile, everyone's energy had completely drained, and hope began to fade from their hearts. They believed their end was near. But just before the commander reached Shu opened something, revealing the true core eye. The moment he touched it, everything in the ruins began to vanish. The commander and everyone with him disappeared, and everything was absorbed into the core eye. Even the spears Shu carried. Those outside noticed the mist gradually dissipating, and everyone began to return from the ruins to the real world, overwhelmed with joy that they were still alive. The class leader had sustained a head injury and was sitting down receiving treatment. Suddenly, Jia rushed in and asked about Shu. The class leader took him to the weapons distribution area to inquire about him, but the teacher there said, "Search for him. If he's not here, then you'll probably find his body. That boy was incredibly strong in the ruins. It's hard to believe he would die so easily. Everyone was heartbroken. Then, in a sudden and unexpected moment, Shou walked in, glowing from all he had gained in the ruins. Everyone was stunned. No one could believe their eyes. Shou approached the teacher, handed him the spears he had collected, and then upset the rest of them by claiming points from them, before calmly walking away. As he walked, he began to feel energy points coming toward him from Lu, as she was still upset with him. He found her up in a tree, waiting for him, and she jumped down to greet him with her usual kick. Then, she started examining his entire body to make sure he hadn't been hurt. When she saw he was unharmed, she burst into tears of pure joy. It was an incredibly emotional and beautiful moment, dear viewer. After that, the boy apologized to her for leaving her alone all that time and embraced her. He then promised to take her to the best restaurant in town as a way to make it up to her. The girl was overjoyed, and the day ended with that touching scene. After Master Li Xiao exited the ruins, he headed toward the Sky Organization to inform them about what had happened, and that a certain individual had managed to steal the core eye. The unit leader caught up with him before he left and asked what he should tell the reporters who were swarming the place. Li told him, "Tell them there's something urgent behind me, and that I'm heading to the organization because I suspect the spies are the ones who took the core eye." The man replied, "All right." Meanwhile, Shu and his sister were returning home safely when they ran into the old man, who started checking in on them. The old man told Shu, "Poor training is like rowing against the current. If you stop, your body will weaken and regress." Shu replied, "You're absolutely right. But safe training is 100 times better than those ruins." Then the old man told Shu that his sister had been going out every day looking for him, even climbing the tallest tree in the city, hoping to catch a glimpse of him returning. Shu, upon hearing that, was overjoyed, while his sister appeared quite embarrassed. After that, Shu returned home and asked his sister to summon her creature. She did, and asked, "What do you need him for?" Shu said, "Just watch." He activated his power and brought out 2 energy stones. Lu was shocked and asked, "Where did you get these from?" Shu replied, "After I started defeating ghosts, my sword absorbed their energy and converted it into this crystal. As for the colored crystal, it resulted from absorbing a strange entity, not our concern." The girl then asked, "So what are we going to do with them?" Shu answered, "If your creature eats it, it'll boost his power and level him up." So the creature ate it, and his dark energy began to rise significantly. But suddenly, he started laughing uncontrollably, and the 2 of them were stunned by the result. Lu shouted, "What kind of crystal did you give him? A laughter crystal? First, you killed my pig, and now you give me this laughing crystal? You're completely useless." Some dark points emerged from her in frustration. Shu quickly said, all right, I've got another gift for you." He pulled out 2 apples he had gotten from the ruins for her to eat, and the girl was extremely happy with them. While Lu was eating, the squirrel saw her and was extremely upset. But when Lu saw him, she was very pleased and said, "From today, you're my pet." She named him Xiao and started playing with him. At first, the squirrel was angry and didn't know what to do, but after Lu gave him some chips, he liked them and became cute again. She told him, "If you want more chips, you have to follow me for the rest of your life." The squirrel agreed, and it was one of the funniest scenes. Meanwhile, Shu entered his room and brought out the formation eye. He used his power on it and connected his consciousness to it. Suddenly, he found himself flying in the air as if surrounded by a magical aura. It turned out that this formation eye was called the Seal of River and Mountains, and it granted him the ability to observe the surrounding areas without being seen. Shu then returned to his senses but felt something strange in the seal. He reconnected his consciousness to it and entered again. Once inside, he found a vast space with some of the weapons he had collected inside the ruins. He was very happy and decided to use it as his personal weapon storage. Suddenly, Shu noticed a huge gate and walked towards it, trying to open it. At first, he couldn't, but after using all his strength, he managed to open a small part of it. When he peeked inside, he saw the ruins he had previously been in, inside the gate. Shu was overjoyed and decided that once he became stronger, he would open that gate fully and train inside it. At that moment, Lu was very worried about Shu, thinking something bad had happened to him. When Shu sensed her concern, he returned to reassure her that he was okay. He said, "I was just testing the new power, that's all." Lu hugged him and said, "I thought you were going to leave me again." She was very sad. Shu then promised her that he would never leave her again and invited her to dinner. It was a moment full of joy and warmth. He then told her, "With the money I've gathered, I'll take you on another trip." Upon hearing that, Lu became overjoyed and was filled with happiness. Meanwhile, the head of the Sky Network gathered with his assistant to discuss the matter of the formation core. The assistant said that Li Xiao suspected a spy had taken the formation core and absorbed its power, but the leader responded, "I don't think a spy was the one who took the core. It must be someone else. I've already sent 2 agents into the city to monitor the flow of magical energy. Wherever an unusual energy spike is detected, that's where the formation core will be." Clearly, this leader isn't an ordinary man. He truly deserves his position. The assistant then said, "The Royal Division class performed very poorly in the ruins, but according to the teacher's report, 2 students experienced an awakening, and their power levels were very high during the battle. One of them had low grades but showed remarkable combat ability," referring to Shu, and the other was a girl with high power and consistent focus, clearly referring to Sai. After hearing that, The commander was impressed and decided to recruit Sai into the Sky Network for special training. And with that, Season 1 of our anime comes to an end. Stay tuned for Season 2, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. See you in the upcoming episodes. Goodbye.